Michael pressed a button on his camera. Click, click, click. You're going to fill up that whole camera with pictures of me holding fish. Danielle laughed. She held up another small fish, its silver scales catching the sunlight. You look happy. I want to remember this, Michael said, smiling behind the lens. The ocean stretched out forever around their small rented boat. The water was so blue it hurt to look at. White clouds floated across the sky like cotton balls. The sun felt warm on Michael's shoulders. This was supposed to be a simple day. Just him and Danielle, away from work, away from stress, away from everything. Danielle tossed the fish back into the water. There you go, little guy. Swim home. Michael lowered his camera and looked out at the waves. That's when he saw it. Something gray. Something that didn't move like the water moved. Dan, he said quietly, do you see that? Danielle turned and squinted. See what? There. He pointed. That gray thing. It's just sitting there. Most things in the ocean float with the waves. They bob up and down. They drift. But this thing stayed in one spot, like it was glued to the water. Maybe it's a dolphin? Danielle said. Dolphins don't stay that still. Michael started the small motor. The boat putted across the water toward the gray shape. As they got closer, Michael's stomach felt tight. Something wasn't right. It was a raft, a small inflatable raft, the kind people use in emergencies. But it was old, really old. The gray rubber looked worn and faded, like it had been in the sun for years. Seaweed wrapped around its edges. Why would someone leave a raft out here? Danielle whispered. Michael didn't answer. He leaned over the side of their boat, trying to read the faded letters on the raft side. Ocean Lark, he read aloud. The words made his skin prickle. That's a boat name, Danielle said. My dad had a boat. People named them like that. Michael grabbed a pole from their boat and poked at the raft. It didn't drift away. Something held it in place. There's a rope, he said. A thick rope, green with slime, ran from the raft down into the dark water below. Michael couldn't see where it ended. Michael, maybe we should just leave it, Danielle said. Her voice sounded small. Call someone, the Coast Guard or something. But Michael was already pulling on the rope. Hand over hand, he hauled it up. Water dripped from the rope back into the ocean. His muscles burned. Whatever was down there was heavy. Michael, almost got it, he grunted. Then something broke the surface. A metal container, about the size of a small suitcase. It was covered in barnacles and slime. Rust ate at the corners, but the box itself looked solid. Michael pulled it onto their boat with a heavy thunk. They both stared at it. What is that? Danielle breathed. I don't know. The container had a lock on it, but the lock was so rusted it looked like it would crumble if touched. Michael found a screwdriver in their boat's emergency kit. He wedged it into the lock and twisted. The lock broke apart like old cookie. Wait, Danielle said, put her hand on his arm. Maybe we shouldn't. What if someone needs help? What if this is from a boat that sank? There might be information about survivors. Danielle bit her lip. Then she nodded. Michael opened the lid. It creaked like a door in a horror movie. Inside, everything was wrapped in plastic. Smart. The plastic had kept the ocean out. Mostly. Michael pulled out the first item. A notebook, the kind with a black and white spotted cover that kids use in school. The plastic around was foggy with age, but when Michael carefully unwrapped it, the notebook inside was almost dry. There's writing, Danielle said, leaning closer. The handwriting was neat and careful. On the first page, someone had written, Sam and Victoria Hale, our ocean adventure. The date was from 10 years ago. Michael's hand started to shake. He pulled out more items. A folded map with routes marked in red ink. 2 wedding rings, tarnished green but still whole, tied together with a piece of string. And a photograph in a plastic sleeve. The photo showed a man and woman on a boat deck. They were young, maybe in their 30s. The man had dark hair and wore a life jacket. The woman had blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail. They had their arms around each other. They were smiling like they'd never been happier. Behind them, painted on the side of their boat, were the words, Ocean Lark. "Oh no," Danielle whispered. "Oh no, no, no." Michael felt cold despite the warm sun. He looked at the raft again, at the rope disappearing into the deep water, at the container in his hands. This wasn't treasure. This wasn't lost cargo. This was a message in a bottle. A message from people who had sailed away one day and never came home. "We have to read it," Michael said, holding up the notebook. "We have to know what happened." "Michael, these were real people. This is their private." "They'd put it in a waterproof box and tied it to a raft." Michael interrupted. His voice cracked. "They wanted someone to find it. They wanted someone to know their story." A wave rocked their boat. The Ocean Lark's raft bobbed beside them, keeping its silent watch. Danielle looked at the photo again, at Sam and Victoria, frozen in their moment of happiness, at the life they planned, captured in one perfect picture. "Okay," she said quietly. "Open it. Let's hear what they wanted to say." Michael's fingers found the first page of the notebook. The handwriting was excited, full of loops and flourishes. "Day 1, he read. "We finally did it. We left the harbor this morning. Victoria cried happy tears when we passed the lighthouse. The Ocean Lark runs like a dream. We're heading south, toward adventure, toward freedom, toward the life we always talked about. Nothing can stop us now." Michael looked up at Danielle. Neither of them said it, but they both thought it. Something did stop them. And now, 10 years later, Michael and Danielle held the proof of what went wrong. The ocean sparkled around them, beautiful and deadly, keeping its secrets until this moment, until two people on a rented boat decided to look closer at something that didn't belong. Michael turned the page, and the real story began. Michael read slowly, his voice getting quieter with each word. Day 5. The weather changed today. Dark clouds came from nowhere. Victoria says I worry too much, but the radio is making a weird crackling sound. The waves are getting bigger. We tied everything down just in case. Danielle wrapped her arms around herself, even though the sun was still warm. Michael turned the page. Day 7. The storm hit last night. It was the scariest thing I've ever seen. Waves as tall as houses. Victoria held on to me, and we prayed. The Ocean Lark is strong, but the engine is making a bad noise. When morning came, we checked everything. The radio is dead. Completely dead. We can't call for help. Michael, maybe we should stop, Danielle said softly. But Michael kept reading. He couldn't stop now. Sam and Victoria's voices were calling across 10 years of silence, and someone needed to listen. Day 10. We tried to fix the engine. I'm not a mechanic. I'm a teacher. Victoria is a nurse. We know how to help people, not boats. The engine won't start. We're drifting. We have food for 2 weeks if we're careful. Water for maybe 10 days. I keep telling Victoria we'll be fine. A ship will come. Someone will see us. Michael's voice cracked. He cleared his throat and kept going. Day 15. No ships. The ocean is so big. I never understood how big until now. We see nothing but water in every direction. We eat one small meal a day. Victoria is staying strong, but I see worry in her eyes. At night, we look at the stars and remember our wedding. We dance under stars like these. That was the happiest night of my life. Every night with her is a gift. Danielle wiped her eyes. They loved each other so much. Michael nodded. He didn't trust his voice to speak. Day 20. The food is almost gone. We caught a fish yesterday. Just one small fish, but it felt like a miracle. Victoria kissed me and said miracles happen when you need them most. I want to believe her. I have to believe her. The handwriting was getting messier now, harder to read. Michael squinted at the words. Day 23. We're so thirsty. The sun is so hot. We made a cover from our tarp, but it doesn't help much. Victoria says we should write everything down. If someone finds this, they'll know we didn't give up. We fought. We're still fighting. Michael had to stop. His hand was shaking too much to hold the notebook steady. Danielle took it from him gently. She looked at the next page, then gasped, "What?" Michael asked, Look at the handwriting. It's different. This is Victoria writing now. Danielle read aloud, her voice barely a whisper. Day 26. Sam is sick. He gave me most of the water, even though I told him not to. He says I'm stronger, but that's not true. He's the strongest person I know. We saw a plane today. Far away, just a tiny dot in the sky. We waved our brightest shirt. We screamed until our throats hurt. The plane didn't see us. Sam cried. I've never seen him cry before. I held him and told him I love him. I'll always love him. Danielle's tears fell onto the page. She quickly wiped them away, careful not to damage the precious words. Day 29. Sam is very weak. We have no food left. The water is gone. We licked the dew off the tarp in the morning. It's not enough. I'm scared. I'm so scared. But I don't tell Sam. I hold his hand and I smile. I tell him about the house we'll buy when we get home, the garden we'll plant, the children we'll have, beautiful lives that keep us alive one more day. Michael grabbed the side of the boat. He felt sick. Maybe we shouldn't read the rest, he said. We have to, Danielle whispered. They wanted someone to know. We owe them that. She turned the page. The handwriting was so shaky now it was hard to read. Day 32. Sam is sleeping. He sleeps most of the time now. When he wakes up, he doesn't always know where we are. He calls for his mother. He talks about his childhood. Yesterday he thought I was his sister. But then he looked at me and said my name. Victoria. He said it like a prayer, like the most important word in the world. Danielle's voice broke. She handed the notebook back to Michael. I can't. You do it. Michael took a deep breath. There were only a few more entries. Day 34. I'm alone now. Sam stopped breathing this morning. I held him and sang his favorite song. He looked peaceful. I wrapped him in our best blanket. I said goodbye to my husband. I said goodbye to my best friend. I said goodbye to my whole world. Michael stopped reading. He and Danielle sat in silence. The only sound was a gentle lap of waves against their boat. Finally, Michael continued. Day 35. I put everything in the metal box. Our rings, our photo, this notebook, our map showing where we wanted to go, all the dreams we had. I'm tying it to the emergency raft. Someone will find it someday. Someone will know we were here. We lived. We loved. We tried. There was one last entry. Just a few words in handwriting, so shaky it was almost impossible to read. Tell our families we thought of them at the end. Tell them we weren't afraid because we were together. Tell them love is stronger than the ocean. The notebook ended there. Michael closed it carefully and wrapped it back in plastic. Neither he nor Danielle spoke for a long time. Finally, Danielle said, "What do we do now?" Michael looked at the photo again. Sam and Victoria, smiling on their boat, ready for adventure. They had no idea what was coming. Nobody ever does. We can't just leave this here, Michael said. These people had families, people who loved them, people who never knew what happened. But how do we find them? This was 10 years ago. We call the Coast Guard. We tell them about the ocean lark. There must be records, missing boat reports. Someone was looking for them. And if we find the family? Danielle asked, what do we tell them? We read Victoria's private words. Her last thoughts. Does her family have the right to? Yes, Michael interrupted. Yes, they do. If someone I loved disappeared, I'd want to know, even if it hurt, even if it broke my heart. I'd want to know they didn't suffer alone, that they thought of me. Danielle picked up the rings, tied together with string. She held them up to the light. They tied their rings together. Even at the end, they wanted to stay connected. We have to do this, Michael said firmly. We have to find their family. We have to give them peace. Danielle nodded slowly. Okay, but Michael, reading this changed me. Knowing what they went through, how they loved each other even when everything fell apart. It makes me think about us, about what matters. Michael reached over and took her hand. I know, he said quietly. Me too. The sun was starting to sink lower in the sky, painting the ocean orange and gold. The ocean lark's raft bobbed gently beside them. Its 10-year vigil finally ended. Michael picked up his phone. No signal way out here, but when they got closer to shore, he'd make the call. Sam and Victoria's story wasn't over yet. The hardest part was still to come. The Coast Guard station smelled like coffee and salt water. Michael and Danielle sat in hard plastic chairs, the metal box on the floor between them. A woman in a blue uniform walked toward them. Her name tag said, Officer Chun. "You're the couple who called about the ocean lark?" she asked. Michael nodded. "We found this today." He gestured to the box. Officer Chen's eyes widened. "May I?" She knelt down and opened it carefully. When she saw the notebook, the rings, and the photo, her hand went to her mouth. "Oh my God," she whispered. "We've been looking for this boat for 10 years. You have?" Danielle leaned forward. "So there's a family? People who were searching?" Officer Chen nodded slowly. She picked up the photo, staring at Sam and Victoria's smiling faces. Sam Hale's sister never stopped calling us. Every few months, she'd call and ask if we'd found anything. Anything at all. She looked up at Michael and Danielle. "Her name is Lydia. She lives about an hour from here." Michael felt his heart pound. "Can we meet her? Can we give her these things?" "That's not usually how we do things," Officer Chen said carefully. "But in this case, I think it would mean a lot to her, to meet the people who found her brother." 2 days later, Michael and Danielle stood on the porch of a small yellow house. Michael held the metal box. His hands were sweating. "I'm nervous," Danielle whispered. "Me too." Before Michael could knock, the door opened. A woman stood there. She was maybe 50 years old, with gray hair and Sam's same dark eyes. She looked at the box in Michael's hands, and her face went pale. "You found something," she said. It wasn't a question. "Are you Lydia?" Michael asked gently. "Yes, Sam was my little brother." Her voice shook. "Please, come in." They sat in Lydia's living room. Photos covered every wall. Sam as a little boy. Sam graduating from college. Sam and Victoria's wedding day. "I always knew he wasn't coming home," Lydia said quietly. "But not knowing what happened was the worst part. Every day I wondered, did they suffer? Were they scared? Did they think about us?" Michael opened the box and handed her the notebook. Victoria wrote at the end, "She wanted you to know." Lydia's hands trembled as she opened the notebook. She read silently, tears streaming down her face. Minutes passed. She turned page after page, reading her brother's words, then Victoria's words. When she reached the final entry, she pressed the notebook to her chest and sobbed. Danielle moved to sit beside her, putting an arm around her shoulders. "I'm so sorry," Danielle whispered. "No," Lydia said, wiping her eyes. "Don't be sorry. This is a gift. You gave me the truth. You gave me closure. For 10 years, I imagined the worst things. Pirates, sharks, a terrible storm that tore them apart. But now I know they were together. They loved each other to the very end. That's everything." She picked up the photo, touching Sam and Victoria's faces with gentle fingers. "They look so happy here. This is how I want to remember them. Before the storm. Before everything went wrong. Just two people in love. Starting an adventure." Michael pulled out the rings, still tied together with string. These were in the box, too. Lydia took them carefully, holding them up to the light like Danielle had done on the boat. "Victoria tied them together," she said softly. She wanted them to stay connected. Even after she couldn't finish. Even after everything, Michael finished for her. "Yes." They sat together for hours. Lydia told them stories about Sam. How he always wanted to sail. How he met Victoria at a hospital fundraiser and knew immediately she was the one. How they saved for 5 years to buy the ocean lark. How excited they were the day they left. "Everyone told them not to go," Lydia said. "My parents, their friends, even me. We said it was too dangerous. But Sam said life is short. He said you can't live in fear. You have to chase your dreams while you can." She smiled sadly. "I was angry at him for so long. angry that he left, angry that he took risks. But reading this notebook, I understand now. He lived exactly the way he wanted, and he had Victoria with him. That's more than most people get. As the sun began to set, painting the sky pink and purple, Lydia walked Michael and Danielle to the door. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you for not just sailing past. Thank you for pulling up that rope. Thank you for reading their story and caring enough to find me." "Anyone would have done the same," Michael said. Lydia shook her head. "No, they wouldn't. People see things every day and do nothing. You did something. You gave me peace. You let me say goodbye." She hugged them both, holding on tight. "I'm going to scatter their ashes at sea," she said. "Well, I don't have Sam's ashes, but I have his words, his love. That's enough. I'll read their last entries over the water and let them go, together, like they wanted." Driving home, Michael and Danielle were quiet for a long time. Finally, Danielle said, "We almost didn't stop. We almost just kept fishing and sailed right past that raft. But we didn't," Michael said. "One small choice. Looking closer at something strange. And it changed everything for Lydia." Michael pulled into their driveway and turned off the car, but neither of them moved to get out. "It changed us too," he said. "Reading Sam and Victoria's story. Seeing how fast everything can fall apart. How the only thing that really matters is the people you love." Danielle reached over and took his hand. When Sam was dying, he thought about his childhood, his mother, his sister, the people he loved. Victoria thought about the house they'd never have, the children they'd never have, all the tomorrows that got stolen. "We still have our tomorrows," Michael said quietly. "We're lucky." They walked to their back porch and sat on the old wooden swing. The evening air smelled like flowers and cut grass. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barked. Normal sounds. Safe sounds. "The ocean is beautiful," Danielle said, looking out at nothing. "But it's deadly, too. It keeps secrets. It takes things and doesn't give them back." "It gave something back this time," Michael said. "It held on to Sam and Victoria's story for 10 years. It kept their word safe. And when we were ready to listen, it shared their secret." Danielle rested her head on Michael's shoulder. "Do you think they knew?" When Victoria sealed that box and tied it to the raft, do you think she knew someone would find it? "I think she hoped," Michael said. Hope was all she had left. Hope that someone would care. That someone would tell their families. That Sam and Victoria wouldn't just disappear like they never existed. "They didn't disappear," Danielle said firmly. "Their bodies might be gone, but their love is still here. In that notebook, in Lydia's memories, in the story we'll carry with us forever." Michael pulled Danielle closer. "Tomorrow, we go back to our regular lives. Work and bills and all the normal stuff. But I don't want to forget this feeling. This reminder that life is precious, that the people we love are precious." "We won't forget," Danielle promised. "How could we?" The stars came out one by one, filling the dark sky. The same stars Sam and Victoria watched from their broken boat. The same stars that had witnessed their love story and their tragedy. Michael thought about the photo in Lydia's house. Sam and Victoria, frozen in time, smiling on the ocean lark's deck, ready for adventure. They got their adventure. It just didn't end the way they planned. But their story didn't end in darkness. It ended with connection, with their words reaching across a decade to touch hearts, with a sister finally getting answers, with two strangers in a rented boat who cared enough to look closer. "We turn a page for them," Michael said softly. "Sam and Victoria. They wrote their story and we helped finish it." "Not finish it," Danielle corrected. "We helped share it. Their love story doesn't end. It ripples out. To Lydia. To us. To anyone who hears about them." Michael nodded. She was right. The ocean kept many secrets. Ships that vanished. Planes that disappeared. People who sailed away and never returned. Most of those secrets stayed buried forever. But not Sam and Victoria's secret. Not today. Today, the ocean whispered instead of roared. It gave instead of took. It connected instead of separated. One gray raft, sitting still in the waves. one curious couple who decided to investigate, one metal box filled with love and loss and final words. That's all it took to heal a 10-year wound. Let's go inside, Danielle said finally. I want to call my mom. Tell her I love her. Good idea, Michael said. I'll call my dad. Because that's what Sam and Victoria taught them. Don't wait. Don't assume there will always be more time. Say the words now. Love the people in your life while you can. The ocean never promises tomorrow. If this story touched your heart, please share, and subscribe for more incredible true stories. Every share helps us reach people who need to hear these messages of love, hope, and the power of caring enough to pay attention to the world around us.